It's 5:10, we're starting the meeting, and we're calling it to order and welcoming our guests online and in person. Thank you for coming. We are going to approve the minutes of the March 11th and March 18th, 2025 meeting. Why hadn't we approved the 11th? I can't remember.
I don't think.
No one had time to read them.
No one had time to read them. Okay. Right now,
Do you have both 11 and?
I only have the 18th.
I'll be back.
I have the 11th if you wanna.
You do? Okay. So is there a motion to approve the minutes for Tuesday, March 11th?
She's doing it.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Larry moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And Zara seconds. Did you want to say anything, Zara?
Well, I'm not ready to do March 18th though. There's some question marks on here. I haven't really,
Okay, so let's just move, is there a, all in favor of moving March 11th? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, the ayes have it. So for the 18th, do you want to wait?
wait until next time.
Okay, wait
please,
until next
so I can
time,
have a
okay.
little time to go through things.
Okay, yeah, there was a lot here. Okay, so we've invited Lisa Cole. So Lisa, if you want to come up and just grab your chair. Yeah. So, and do you mind, Eric, minimizing that participant thing so that it's kind of out of the way thing? And then it will probably say, something might pop up if someone else joins. So Lisa is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Supervisor or something.
Sure, that sounds good.
Manager
Yeah.
from the Vermont Emergency Management, and she's been helping the town out with the buyouts for the 2023 flood and the 2024 flood. So Stacy had asked if we could, get an update about what's happening, and knowing that, with the transition of Sarah leaving, that it would make sense for us having a couple new board members, just to kind of see where we're at with the families and what it is as a town that we may be responsible for that we don't know we need to be doing.
Okay, how long do I have? How long do you want?
Well, I gave you 25 minutes, it looks like.
Okay.
20.
I think
20
I can do
minutes,
less,
20,
but-
yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much, and thank you very much for hosting me today. I was able to meet with 5 property owners during the day, and I have a 6th scheduled to meet virtually on Friday. So what I wanted to do is give you what I think would be a brief overview on the important items on where you are, and a path forward in order for VEM to better support the town, to better support the property owners. So I'll start by saying that all of the submitted, backing one up, after this meeting, we're going to provide, through Liz and Cheryl, a list of all of the updates to all of the projects, because in meeting with 5 of the property owners today, there's still some things in flux. Not only that, but if you start asking me for numbers and names and all of that, I will fail miserably. So our team is putting together a list to provide the town, and we'll constantly update that list. It's an overwhelming number of buyouts for any town to do, so we just wanted to make that clear. But all of the buyout applications that were submitted to FEMA have been awarded. So that's the good news. The other thing is, for those that may have any experience with the buyout process, there is a difference to this grouping of buyouts in that the program is being state managed. So it's FEMA funded, managed by VEM. That does mean that a lot of the work that would normally fall to the town is absorbed by VEM. The other thing is all of the components of the buyout that require us to hire contractors and pay for those contractors, we have done that. So we are taking care of directly providing those services and payment for those vendors. It is still a lot of work, but a lot of it has been absorbed by VEM. So any questions on that aspect? Okay. So what is left for the town to do? We still do request that the town coordinate directly with property owners. And I think we can have some further discussions on what that looks like. VEM understood that Middlesex needed some extra assistance with the numbers that it had, and we were glad to step up. Maggie Clark, who works with our team, really was setting up bat visits, setting up appraisals directly with the property owners. That's not something we would normally do, but we were glad to do it. But, and I'll explain a little bit further where we are in the process, the more that we can have the town involved in coordinating with the property owners, the less likely there will be any delays. So, and I'll explain what I think that looks like going forward. But where we are with all of the projects right now, like I said, they've been awarded, and we have sent notice to proceed to the appraisal companies to start the appraisal process. When that occurred, we had, making up numbers now, 60 to 70 buyouts that needed appraisals. So we sent that on to the appraisal companies with the understanding that they would begin to work through them, and they are diligently. And it just so happened, as I was sitting here, we were getting some appraisals back from Middlesex.
For the whole state, 60 to 70.
Yeah, and that was the first batch. We have over, I think we're at 150.
Okay.
So I say that we sent out the notice to proceed. We alerted the appraisal companies to get started, alerted the towns that they needed to coordinate with property owners. The town at that time did not have capacity to do so, so we were doing that. We had some property owners we weren't able to get in touch with, so again, there's been a back and forth, but the good news is we are starting to see appraisals come back from the appraisal company. Once we have those appraisals, there's a part of the process called the duplication of benefits. It's not fun, and what it is that we need to gather from the property owners information about what assistance they received from FEMA, and then receipts for repairs that they made to their property. I don't want to get too far in depth with that. We have sent that communication through the town and are working now directly with property owners to gather that information. Today, that was one of the things that I did, was sat down and I gathered some more information. But the duplication of benefits process probably will require some assistance from a town point of contact at some point. And it may be as simple as the town helping scan and send some documentation, okay?
So you'll tell us what that's going to be.
We will, and that's the thing, we're very user-friendly. We tell you what to do. Okay. So again, appraisal, duplication of benefits. Once that process is done, we prepare what's called a voluntary transaction agreement, a VTA. It is like a purchase and sales agreement. The difference is because the process is fully voluntary up to the point of the purchase, it doesn't have the teeth, it doesn't have a penalty. So that's where in the process, for those that have been appraised, has the duplication benefits been completed, then we do the voluntary transaction agreement. That's where we really need the town. We send those VTAs to the town to send to the property owner. Again, not going to go into any more details at this point. We have a really good email that sets forth the next couple of steps and what they can do if they don't agree with the appraisal and that process. But that is something that needs to be signed by the property owner and someone on behalf of the town. And it's normally, I think, we would leave it up to you to decide who has authority to sign that. But that's kind of the next big area where we are going to need town assistance.
Just out of curiosity, isn't it more work for you to have us do it? It seems like we're sort of a middleman. If you're doing all of this and then you're asking us to reach out to and then we have to get back to you to say that this person, like, to me it seems less efficient.
Yes, absolutely. But normally, the VEM is not the sub-applicant. The town is the sub-applicant and the town is handling everything. So the process is designed for the norm, not the distinction here.
Yes.
The other thing is we work with a lot of contractors that are not located in the state. And the town needs to sign off on the voluntary transaction agreement, so the town needs to be involved in it.
I see, that makes sense, okay.
Yep. So, absolutely fair question. Not
Not that I'm trying to make more work for you, but it just seems like why, you know.
Yeah.
FEMA came up with it.
Well, it's the way that it normally, because again, it would normally be the town. But that's also why I'm here today, because we are able to have a little more involvement.
Okay.
So appraisals, duplication of benefits, voluntary transaction agreements. Once the voluntary transaction agreement is fully executed, VEM sends a notice to proceed to our closing attorney who we procured. The closing attorney represents the grant, represents the interest of the town in that they're going to assist with the transfer of property. The property owner, especially those I met with today, they are advised that that attorney does not represent their interests, so they need to seek legal counsel if they do want separate representation. But the attorney that we have hired does all of the closing documents.
Okay.
Yep. They make sure all the grant requirements are met, which I know this is going to shock you, but there's some persnickety grant requirements. So they make sure that those are adhered to. We connect the attorney with the town to connect with the property owner, because VEM is not part of that closing transaction. Every step that we have, I'm not saying it's perfect, but each notice to proceed lays out all of the next steps. I like to say that these buyouts are choose your own adventure. I can give you a general overview, but until A happens, I can't tell you what happens with B. The other thing is each of these projects progresses at its own pace. Mm-hmm. We need to, once the notice to proceed to the legal department goes, they have to do a title search. We have to get the title search back. We have to make sure there's nothing on the title that conflicts with the grant requirements. We also have to consider the schedule of the town and the closing attorney, and then also each of the property owners are in different situations. We have some that are going to need time to close. We're going to have others that want to close yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it really does become, and back to the town's involvement, these are your townspeople. You're interacting with them, you know more about them than we do. You're able to better assist them through the process to meet their individual needs. Okay. So I'm going to pause there for a second. And I promise you we will be available for lots of questions, and we've got a lot of different helps that we send out, but are there any burning questions up until the time of closing?
It sounds like that we need to have someone authorized to sign the voluntary transaction agreement. So is that usually like the town clerk, treasurer, select board chair? Who do you?
Yes. It's up to the town to decide who has authority. It's often a select board member, but we've also seen town managers. It's whoever you deem has authority to do so. But yes, that would be making the determination on who will sign the
So do they
voluntary.
need to make that decision tonight?
No, that's up to you guys.
We'll get it on the agenda.
And I don't recall, I think the select board, the one that we did under a prior round on Rich Road.
That was probably Peter Hood or
It was
something.
probably a select board, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you sent something down earlier and it was all Peterhood.
Has no one has closed yet, have they?
No.
Okay. How many are there in Middlesex?
I have 12. I need to verify the number because there was a package of 13, and then I think there was one that was submitted separately. And the reason why I'm kind of in flux is that we have had a couple of properties added and then withdrawn.
Okay.
So one of the things I will do is give you a final number. And I did talk to one property owner today that is considering withdrawing, and I will share that information privately.
Yeah. Okay.
What happens when the buyouts go through? Is the house raised? What happens?
Yes, actually, so next step would be after the purchase, the town owns the property. VEM has procured asbestos testing, or in the process of procuring asbestos testing and demolition of the property. So asbestos testing is required. If there is asbestos, then the grant does pay for remediation and then pays for the demolition. All utilities are capped. So you then have land that is to be maintained according to the deed restrictions as open space in perpetuity.
And then there are actually grants where you can, I don't know if they still exist, but where you can like plant trees there or put a park bench if you wanted to, that kind of thing.
We've been having the discussion, reuse, some things that you can do on the property and then reuse plans. kind of generally speaking, when the buyouts first started, every town, the first thing was, we need to do these buyouts. And what we've talked internally is we need to start having conversations on what will you do? Do you want to plant some trees, some, native vegetation, any floodplain restoration projects? But we realized that at the time that this was occurring, that the greatest need was to get the buyouts completed.
And is there any concern that with all the upheaval in Washington, that some of this might not happen, or do we just don't?
No, and I don't mean to be flippant. Right now, we have awards. We have the money obligated for these projects. Out of all the things that keep me up at night, that is not something that keeps me up at night. FEMA has been impacted by, they've kind of had to do additional levels of review. So anything we ask of FEMA right now is taking, used to take forever, now it takes forever and a day to get a response. But
A month, actually.
But in saying that though, there is a little slowdown there, but we are business as usual.
Okay.
So.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Lisa? Okay, this was helpful. So it sounds like you'll be in touch with, at the very least, Cheryl and me.
That is, one suggestion that I wanted to pass along for you all to determine is we have some other towns that have large number of properties. And what we see has been very helpful is they've had a point of contact who's very familiar with the town and its inner workings, but doesn't necessarily have another role in the town.
Oh.
And again, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but that's something that we throw out that it's very overwhelming. This is a lot of properties, it's a lot of coordination, and some other towns have found it helpful, and we have seen benefits where they find someone in the town who is retired or semi-retired. Everything that we've seen is volunteer.
It's all volunteer.
We have had some towns, I'm sure, that are like hiring grant managers. Again, we're doing a lot of, it might not feel like it at times, but we are really kind of doing the bulk of the heavy lifting. But just having somebody that we can coordinate with who maybe doesn't have those heavier competing interests. But again, whatever you guys need us to do and however you need us to work.
Okay. We should put that, like you said, Stacy, we'll put it on an agenda.
Yeah, sounds like we'll need to authorize, we'll need to give someone, like deputize someone to execute the VTAs, and then maybe we put out a call to the town to see if anyone's willing to be like our buyout ombudsman. We can be the point of contact on a volunteer basis. Otherwise, somebody here can do it. But yeah.
And we are at the point where things could start very much
Going
picking up
quickly.
and speeding
Okay.
up.
Yeah, especially if there's homeowners that are like ready, then let's see what we can do to help them out.
And again, full support where we can. And I work here in Waterbury on Tuesdays, so I'd be more than happy to come and sit in again.
Okay. Alrighty, any other questions for Lisa? All right, thank you so much for coming.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to step out, but like I said, I will follow up with an update based on the information we got from property owners and give you guys a clear picture of exactly where you are with all your projects.
Are you sure you don't want to stay till 7:30 tonight?
I would love to stay until 7 tonight. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Alrighty.
I want to we should probably figure out how much tax revenue that's gonna
Boot out.
go with that.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, we're going to the appraisal
Right.
soon, so that's gonna change things anyway. So I'm not sure that exercise would necessarily be useful until we go through the appraisal, but we are gonna at least have, we are gonna lose revenue.
12 properties, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
At least get a idea.
At the very least, it's probably 12 times 3, 36, 12 times 4, 48,000.
Ben will pick up the slack. Ben will pick up the slack.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Okay, so we're back on schedule for the highway report. FEMA Road, can you come over here, because I want to also just go make sure that we've covered these other things that we talked about last week. but we wanted to update. There were a few things that we didn't sign, and I want to make sure that you're on top of the other stuff that's due at a certain time. So, so first, the highway report.
Sure. As far as equipment, we repaired the International last week, the bed chain for the sanding. Most of the parts were replaced on it, just worn out due to the age. That's really the only equipment issues we've had to deal with other than the Freightliner that's still on the back burner. As far as, we had to plow on Saturday and that went all right. We just had to go slow with soft roads. And the grader was out today touching up some stuff, and mud season has not caused a whole lot of havoc as of today, but there's still some frost in the ground.
Yeah. But the road work that was done, I think it's made a difference.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of factors going on, I believe.
Yeah.
It's coming out slow. I don't know as the ditches were really frozen up because of all the snow in them, so maybe
Oh, I
the
see,
water's
yeah.
draining out better. I don't know. It's, there's still some mud holes, but not
Yeah.
nearly what we're normally seeing at this time.
Yeah, I was on Portal Road when mud season first started. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad now, though.
It's not,
I don't think.
I mean, this was, 2 weeks ago, when
Yeah.
it first started mud season. It
Yeah.
looks like you guys had to put some stones
Yeah,
down
we
and
did.
stuff, yeah.
Yep.
How long does it usually go? 6 weeks?
Oh, yeah, depends.
Could be 3 months. Could be December, January,
Last year it was
March.
5 times.
Right.
But yeah, that's, as far as the roads, that's what I got.
Okay. Great. Oh, yeah, don't forget, Corner of the Moon Road. I was on that the other day as one of our roads.
Mhm.
The bridge.
Mhm.
That's one, just don't forget it's part of our roads.
So, it hasn't been forgotten.
Speaking of bridges, I have a question just about the Wood Road Bridge. The surface is looking kind of gnarly,
Oh, it's bad.
which is that like basically aesthetic, and is that something that can be readily repaired?
Yeah, we have the material to patch it.
Mhm.
We just gotta wait for the weather to do so.
It's different than quad patching, or is it the
Yes,
same?
it's concrete,
Yeah, okay.
but it's a certain concrete that sets up fairly quick so you can drive on it.
Gotcha. Also, I saw somewhere, and maybe this was on like an agenda item about replacing the Wood Road Bridge.
That's one of the goals, I think, down here on the bottom.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Yeah, I drive over it every day, so I was just kind of curious.
It's not really the greatest setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's had its wear and tear, and quite frankly, it's not really wide enough or angled right to get on there and off it with a plow truck.
Yeah, I bet it's really tricky. We have an RV. It's tricky.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm just, one more question. Like, is it like a grant, is it like a funding thing or a V-Trans thing?
Yeah, we're not
All
gonna
the
be able to pay
things?
for it.
Yeah.
It would have to be a grant.
Yeah.
This big grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't foresee it happening this year or next.
Okay.
Grants could be few and far between.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially for a bridge that's still in place and working.
True.
They are inspected annually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, stay here.
I'm here.
Let's talk about FEMA.
Sure. Well, as she had
Any
mentioned.
good news?
I don't know. I mean, I can't tell. It's good news and it's bad news. We've had 5 more roads released since the last time we spoke. So obligated. It's just
By
that.
FEMA.
By FEMA. Signed off on I mean, that's a huge amount of roads because we had only had
Yeah.
3 prior to that. And those had just gotten completed in 2025, this year. So our last FEMA person, Christina, was really great 'cause she would yell to bosses and tell them to get it done and tell them to just sign off on things and push it through. And it was her last week with us and she got 5 roads completed.
great.
So I gave you guys a little cheat sheet. What we've received, the 3 roads that had been obligated prior, That's the 1,209,755, that's what we've gotten.
Yeah.
With the 6 roads, because there was another road that was obligated before this week. So with 6 new roads obligated, that's $2,696,045 that's now obligated. We've answered all the questions they could possibly have. It's done, it's done, it's done. When we're actually gonna get that money, it's gonna take even longer than normal because of what's going on. And so now it goes through like another review or something.
It goes through another review in a different department.
Yeah,
These 6 right here?
Yes. So when everything was obligated, it would go to a certain group of people. They would review
The state.
everything, and then they would send the money to the state. Well, now it's going through another set of reviews on top of the reviews that were there.
the 100 that have already gone, that been done to get us to obligated.
So it's gonna, and they don't have a way to say, okay, normally it takes you 3 weeks, and now they're saying,
We don't know.
no clue.
And this is all 4720, just so you know.
Yeah, just 4720.
So
Okay,
the
yeah.
last roads for 4720 are projects, I should say, is East Hill, Portal Road, and we're waiting for the Agency of Natural
Yeah.
Resources to answer one question that they need, and then those should be
Yeah.
through
Is
the
that
process.
this right here?
Yeah, where it says ANR. And then the third last one there is Lower Sunnybrook Road and Culvert. And that's because CRC is costing out a culvert for us or something like
Yes,
that.
they are,
That's what's
yeah.
taking time.
But are you talking about these over here? No.
So that's the still TBD.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
those are our, and the reason why there's 64,306 stuck in there is because 1, 2, 3, 4 down here, Macy, Boldock, and Wood, Macy,
yeah.
and Boldock. We were paid the 435,000,
Yes.
but we caught a 71,000 error.
Yeah.
And 64 will be the 90% of that.
Gotcha.
That she went back, Christina, once again,
Yeah.
totally saved us because we were
Gotcha.
told that everything would have to be gone through, blah, blah, blah. And Christina was like, bull, we made a mistake on
Okay.
this number, so I can fix it. And she did.
Okay, so this is all just 4720.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we are waiting on the 2,696,000. That's all done. We've got nothing left to do. And then once we get the A&R stuff done and the CRC project development on whatever, that's another 1,300,000. And that wraps up 4720. Or will.
Yeah. And then for the next flood, what's that number again?
4810.
And then for 4810, have we?
Yeah, I worked with, we had this great guy, Parker. We were assigned this woman, KJ, who is not gonna work out. So I worked with Parker for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And we are meeting, is it Monique? I've forgotten her name. But
Something like that.
We're meeting somebody on Friday who's gonna be our next.
Have they determined a time yet?
Why do they keep switching people?
Well, KJ was me.
Me?
No, KJ was me because she was telling me the wrong things. It was a person,
Oh,
it was an
your
immediate
thing.
personality
Okay, gotcha,
conflict.
gotcha, yeah,
Trust me, KJ didn't want to work with her.
Okay,
That's
okay, so
putting it
Zara's working
lightly.
with Parker for the last 3 weeks.
Parker actually really helped me out a lot
Okay.
in terms of getting me into the portal and getting me in
All right.
telling me like when I send things, how he wants it
Okay.
headed, and yeah, that was great. So
Alright.
we have high hopes for this next woman.
So we just don't know at this point when this 2.6 million is going to come and when this 1.3 million is going to be obligated.
Correct.
And it could be who knows when because of just what's happening down
It's just up in the air.
federal government. Okay. But I will say that I did talk with someone at the state, you know, after the news articles in WCAX and New York Times basically saying FEMA's frozen, right? Like nothing's happening down in Washington with FEMA. I said, are you worried about this? And he said, no, I think we're gonna get the money. It's just gonna take time. Like he doesn't think that it's gonna be a scenario where we never get reimbursed. So I'm hoping because he works in emergency management that he's right.
I hope so too, because
Trying to be
Washington County,
positive.
Vermont is the #1 per capita
Yeah,
recipient of FEMA money.
yeah. Okay, so any questions for Zara? Thank you, Zara, for this. I think this is really helpful. It's interesting and it really is concise, so thank you for doing that. Alrighty, so then, for the rest of the agenda about roads, is just going back to this, this bridges, this packet from the state of Vermont, around highway grants and things. So I just wanted to go over it to make sure that we have done everything. There is something that we all need to sign tonight. So I just wanted to double check. Did you still have this? This was a copy, or did you send it off to Michelle?
I haven't sent that to no one, no?
Do you have it?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have it completed, so you, and there were just like places that you had to fill out. Okay, so I just wanted to double check on that. This is the annual financial plan for highways. Is that something you're on top of? Okay.
Yeah, last year, Cheryl and I did it
Okay, so this is due,
this month.
yeah.
It's 15th, isn't it?
Well, is everything due the 15th?
I can't remember.
That's what it says
The
here.
grant is due the 15th, the municipal highway grant is due the 15th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this is necessarily due the 15th, but
Well,
let's
I think
just.
last year we had to back in.
Okay, do you need another copy of this? Okay, so you
I
have
have
that, all right. So the other, it's the municipal highway grant application that's due the 15th, and you're all set with that too, okay? So then this was the one we weren't sure when to answer this.
As far as the date.
Yes, and so Michelle got back to me and she said the date really is back in the original time. So that was 7/9/2019. So I'm just gonna put that in here. And then we do certify that they do meet or exceed and that we do have an up-to-date highway network is
We
what
do.
she said we should do. Because we're working on it, but even though it's not completed, we can say that we do. So now, we're going to all sign this.
You all.
And you're gonna include it with the application and that other thing
Yes.
and all of that. That would be handy. Okay, so today's 4/1, right? Oh, April Fools. Okay, so I'll pass Middlesex. Okay, there you go. So I think that was it. Was there, thanks, actually, wasn't there something else? Let's see, a pavement marking letter.
Yeah, they do that every year. They come in, they put down the yellow.
Oh, they'll be painting center line. Town should utilize the email on the attached letter with their schedule for repairing and retreatment of these town highways.
And we don't really have a schedule for that, so it's a matter of whenever they do it.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about that one. Okay. All right, so I think that makes me feel better that we're doing all of the stuff that we need to do and everyone's on top of it, correct? Okay. I need to find here we go. Okay. So I don't think we need to move the signatures of that, do we? No, okay. Treasurer's report, update on, it's now
46?
5:46, we're right on schedule. Treasurer's report, update on the Vermont Bond Bank loan.
The Vermont Bond Bank approved our winter loan in an amount of $2,388,000.
$2,388,000.
Yep. They're wanting to close on May 7th.
Okay.
But they've got some other, this just happened.
Yep,
So they just got some logistic stuff that they gotta work out. They
Okay.
they would like to close on May 7th. I've got a meeting to speak with the attorney next week
okay,
about that. And they want to know if the loan will be a 12-month current expense note or a long-term refunding note, or possibly a combination of the two.
did they explain what long-term refunding was?
No, this is just the email that I just got.
Well, it's
And-
all dependent on us getting FEMA money, right? So I think it's probably gonna have to be a long-term, but not like, I don't know if they're asking us, do we want this to be a 20-year note, or is this,
I don't think that's what they're asking.
I don't think that's what they're asking.
Because they know that would require
Yeah.
us to go to the town people.
Yeah, oh, right, yeah, so I think we want a long-term refunding.
Just
Yes.
one question is, if it goes to a long-term funding, would you be penalized if you pay it off sooner?
Well, that's what I think we wouldn't based on this, but we're gonna find out. That's a good
Yeah,
question.
that's
Yeah,
it.
because we don't, I don't think, so a normal bond you can't repay, but this is that special bond.
Yep. And so the other part of it is too, is like, okay, are we gonna be paying for expenses as they occur? Are we paying for past debt? So I've gotta come up with all those numbers for them to let them know, are
Okay.
we gonna be, what we're gonna be using the money exactly for, which we know part of it is for that new work that you guys gotta have done on that contract, which was 1.5 million.
Yep. So, yeah.
Can I,
Go ahead, yeah.
okay.
Clarify.
So if Google is any help, take it with a grain of salt. The 12-month current expense note sounds like that's like new money versus a long-term refunding note where it says it's basically like replacing debt at a lower interest rate.
I see.
So.
And that's actually one of the
With-
things that I asked.
So it's a
that I wanted
combo,
to-
it's gonna be a combo.
Yeah, because I knew that we needed to pay for that new work that needed to be
Yes.
done, but also I wanted to be able to reduce the interest on those other loans because
Yes.
one of them is almost like 6%.
Is that the CNA,
Yes.
Community National Bank?
Because remember,
Community Bank.
part of this 2 million that we'll get at some point is actually prepaying for the $1 million that we need to pay for the 4 culverts that are going in, 4 big culverts.
Right. Right, so we're gonna be, so I think it's, did she say or a combo or he?
Yeah, it could be a combo.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
too.
combo. So it's gonna be paying for the summer work and it's gonna be paying down the community bank
Mhm.
loan. And then I would, I mean, I guess I have worries, right, about how we're gonna pay off any of these loans because eventually the money's gonna come due.
Well, not only that, but we haven't RFP'd for things for 4810 culverts and things that, right, or work that still needs to be done, so we're gonna have to file extensions through FEMA because there's no way.
Okay, we can file extensions?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank
Yes.
goodness. Okay. I did reach out to Treasurer Pichek's office, and he referred me to Katie Buckley, who's out. I think she's on vacation or something, and she's coming back. She's probably catching up with her emails. But the problem that we're having is the same problem that everyone else is having. So basically, I emailed him and I said, here's the big worry, is that we don't get reimbursed by FEMA anytime soon, and we have all these notes that come due. And so, the only money that's accessible to us would potentially be a long-term bond, but then you can't prepay your long-term bond. And I need guidance, like we need guidance to know what to do.
Right.
And he knows it's a problem, and I guess they had just recently had a meeting about this very subject. And so I did forward the email to Katie, and who works for Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, I think. Is it VTLC or is it, I think it's VTLC that she works for. Let me just double check. Because it's a, like, what if something happens again? I know we don't want to go there, but like, we are, we've spent everything.
For everybody to buy a boat.
Right.
Build an ark.
I mean, okay.
What, I got a question.
Yes.
What would be the terrible thing, and maybe there is something, to get a long-term bond to cover the cost of everything? I know you can't pay it off early, but we're eventually gonna be paid back, then we would have that money in the bank.
I think you're not allowed to. I don't think you're allowed to hold on to it and invest it. I think that's what somebody told us, Sarah did or something, like.
I'm curious, I mean.
Well, that's what I would have said. Let's just put it in the bank and pay off our
Find something
loan
with a bigger interest.
as we need it, but I don't think you're allowed
Or
to
have
do
that $9 million and build a new shop, I'm just saying.
I know. No.
Well, you wouldn't be keeping on it.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that really is the problem.
Gotcha.
Because I think that we would do that. I mean, I think that if that's what we were sort of like, we had no other choices,
Mhm.
we would ask the town for a
Because-
$10 million bond.
Because you'd
to-
be safe and you wouldn't be in the hole.
Exactly, but then I just think that there's something about, and I understand that, the government doesn't want you investing their money
better than they do.
better than they do, right, I guess.
Which doesn't
yes.
take much.
So I guess I just wanna make sure I'm like hearing this
Yeah,
right.
the LCT is what
You've reached out to, you said it was Mike Pichek?
Yeah,
And also VLCT.
and VLCT about the conundrum of how
Which
to.
bond to,
Yeah, how to pay for pay off our loans that we already have,
Yeah,
any future work that needs to get done when we're not getting reimbursed by FEMA in a timely manner. And there's an unknown, right? It could be 2 years, right? It could be never. Let's hope it's not never, but like, worst case scenario is it's never. And this is all we've got.
yeah, like is there a better way for the town to deal with its flood debt? Like it sounds like, and that's the question, do they have any,
Yes, the state is gonna have to help towns figure out how to deal with their flood debts, because you can't,
that's in the omnibus bill that I think, like House Bill 479, it's circulating, I don't know what it's up to at the moment, but they're working on it. I don't know if you've just like, did you hear anything? 'Cause
no, but I don't think it's
it's gonna be prospective, it's not gonna help us.
right, and I'm wondering too, like,
hopefully they're looking at expanding, so it's counties and not towns that are having to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know, it should be like a representative from Washington County working this.
yeah. Well, rest assured, town, we are working on it, we're doing the best that we can. Okay. So, we think we're gonna close on May 7th. And
It's
do you feel
questionable.
supported? Like, do you
Yep.
feel like you have the information you need?
Yep, I've got a
Okay.
few questions for him. Like I said, I just got
Okay.
this email, so I was
Alright.
just glad to see that we
Yeah.
got the loan.
Yes, me too. I think that's really great. Thank you. Did you ask for 2.5 and they gave you 2.388? Awesome. Okay, that's good. All right. Review and approve the annual emergency management plan. I sent that out to everyone. I didn't make copies because it's kind of long, but everyone got a copy of it, right? Was there anything that people wanted
I don't
to?
think I saw that. It's not everybody though.
Oh,
It's okay, I'm just picking.
no, but let me bring it up here.
I know it anyway, because I was there when we did it.
Yeah, you were there when we did it, right. The only thing I took out was Steve's names.
Yeah.
As things. So let me go to my sent emails. Does everyone remember this?
And I might have.
It doesn't have to be done today if people don't feel comfortable doing it, but it does have to be done soon, like by the next meeting. And next meeting I think might be kind of busy because that's when we're interviewing select board candidates.
And having a lively discussion about the town purchasing policy.
Oh, right, that's
If
gonna
I
be
get my
exciting.
brothers.
I have it, 319.
So basically, the
319.
emergency management plan is what we do every year. And it updates phone numbers, places of where we have our emergency shelter, who's authorized to do things and make purchases, contact numbers for people, other local resources, like we added CREW, which is the long-term recovery group. We added a few local contractors in case, we needed to hire someone. And then we worked with Sid Pollock on this, so he helped us do this. So it was me, Sid, Steve, and Eric who helped with this. It also, so basically what it's designed to do is that we have, if there's an emergency, we have this document in our hands and it tells us what we do in an emergency, right? It's like, do we need to open a shelter? Where is the shelter? Who are the contacts? And all these up-to-date telephone numbers and emails, capacities of shelters, things like that. So all of this basically is up to date, and we just need to approve it as a board. Yes.
It looks good. Do we have no overnight shelter?
No.
No, not technically.
Okay.
As you know, we did use the fire station as
In '23.
in 2023 for overnight when roads couldn't be,
When no one was going anywhere.
yeah.
Do we have supplies for people to overnight, cots and things like that?
Not really.
That is something that we looked into way back, like through the American Red Cross. One of the problems is if you become an American Red Cross shelter, you have to open it up to other people.
Mhm.
So right now, we just send people to the Berry Auditorium.
Is that where the American?
There
Red
is an
Cross
American Red, there's a shelter there with cots and things. Yeah, that's where the Red Cross opens up.
I think this looks good. It's only missing Honeybean Barrett's contact email at the very bottom under other contacts. Oh, but she is up above
I was
for
gonna say she
EOC
was on.
staff, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
she is on here.
Okay.
She's on here at the very last page, has her phone number, all the contact information. And we verified all of that as well.
Beautiful. Looks good to me.
Okay, so,
One other question.
yep,
Annex A, shelter management plan, is that included in this? Am I just missing it?
Annex A is, we do have a shelter management plan that Honey had, that we as a emergency management had approved a few months ago, which is the Rumney School. So I do have that, let me just find that.
The only thing about that, just so you're understanding, is that it's not overnight. It
Right.
cannot be overnight.
None of the overnight boxes were checked.
So we have, oh no, that's the local emergency management plan, let's see.
Where would they, like,
Basically, they could go there and warm up, use the bathrooms, charge their phones.
go home?
Yeah,
So-
because you can't even use the kitchen either.
I can share this with you guys. This is called Middlesex Emergency Committee's access to the Rumney School during emergency protocols. So it allows us like what you can do at the school. It's not an overnight thing, and where you can access it. So that's what they're referring to. So, and just so you guys know, like the select board doesn't like, the select board isn't necessarily like the emergency go-to, right? It's the emergency management committee. And so, but we as a select board need to approve the annual emergency management plan for the town. And so, and just by default, I'm the emergency management director. So if there's an emergency, don't come to me. Because I'm gonna be like Peter Hood, pulling the blankets over my head and saying, I can't
Call
deal with
Eric.
this.
Call Eric.
So call Eric. No, seriously, I will be around if I'm around.
I'm gonna go look for Eric, he's gonna be building an ark probably.
Yeah.
Eric says it's a truck, and you
Yeah.
got that low to the ground thing.
Yeah.
So what this, so I don't think we need to sign anything. I don't see any signatures, which is a little
Do
weird.
you want just like a motion or something?
Yeah, I think we just need a motion to approve it.
I can motion to approve that annual Middlesex Emergency Management Plan.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it if you can send me that other.
Yes. No, I'm not gonna send it to you. Okay, I'll send that right now, hold on.
And I second that motion.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna forward you guys the email from Honeybean Barrett. So it's gonna be for, now, let me just double check. Stacy, are you all set with middlesexvermont.org? And you're using it?
I am,
Okay.
and that is the email I would like to use going
Okay,
forward.
and are you all set,
Yeah,
Larry,
I'm
with
fine.
Larry
Me
and
as well.
Lawrence?
You
You are too?
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
sent your most recent.
Did I do the right one? Okay.
Zara, I'm gonna send it to you, to Eric Mativier. Is that it? There's 1, 2, 3 board members. All right, ready? So now I'm gonna send it and it's attached. Okay,
Did you send me that too?
I sent it to Sarah's address, clerk@middlesexvermont.org. Okay. Okay, so then what I'm also gonna send to you guys, so that you have copies of them, just as a reminder, is the emergency management plan. But I'm just gonna double check with Sid, approving the Middlesex.
What happened to our people?
Right there.
Okay.
See, it says on the bottom 6.
Or I'm just checking with Sid if there's something that we're supposed to sign that I somehow don't have a copy of. And if there is, we'll just sign it next week, okay? Okay, cool. Alrighty, budget committee to present.
Did we want to vote on that?
Oh, yeah, we
have a
have a
motion.
I'm sorry, we have a motion. All those in favor of said motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. Congratulations, everyone. We are now ready for our next emergency with me in charge. That's a good reason not to have an emergency, right?
Uh-huh.
I think for our next one, unless Sam is there with Shelley and disagrees, I think this was supposed to be put on for our next meeting, which is right after the
Oh.
budget committee, so everybody will be here.
Okay, so you want to pass over this?
If that's okay with Shelley,
You mean Sam?
yeah, 'cause it's Sam, I don't know if Sam's with Shelley, but,
I am here. Sounds good to me.
okay, let's
Okay.
push it to the next one.
Alrighty,
where
so
you're-
I will add this on to next week's agenda. Or next meeting's agenda.
Yeah,
The budget committee?
Yeah,
the-
budget committee to present municipal salary range recommendation
Okay.
for April 15th.
All right, so we're adjourning that.
Yes.
We, at the beginning, we didn't approve the agenda, so maybe we could add the looking at letters of interest for the next select board and member at some point this meeting.
That's gonna be on next agenda.
Oh, it's
Is
gonna
it-
be in 2 weeks, not today? Okay.
Right, the letters of interest were due by April 10th.
Okay.
And then on April 15th, as long as we had all the letters,
Yep.
then we were going to, I've invited everyone. Did I invite you yet, Annette? Okay, so I just got Annette's this morning, and so Annette, would you take this as the word that you were invited to the April 15th meeting? So we've had 3 letters of interest so far, and we have until the 10th to accept letters of interest for the select board position.
Sounds good.
So we'll be reviewing letters of interest and meeting
The candidates.
the candidates on
Yeah.
4/15.
So I have forwarded you, I believe I also forwarded you Annette's today.
Yep.
So I forwarded you all the 3 so far, and any more that I get, I will just continue to forward. And I did get clarity from Sarah. I was like, is it all right that I'm like saying things in emails? It's fine that I send you things and say things. You just can't respond with like comments or discussions, because otherwise that makes it a public meeting when everyone's CC'd. But it's okay for me to be sending you things and writing things out for you to understand, but not for us to engage in a conversation. Okay. Okay. All right, so we actually have some time now. So something that we do at the beginning of each year, which, not really year, but of each term, is review our goals, like things that we want to work on. We look back at our past goals, and these were our past goals these were actually our goals for 2024 4, I took some off that we had already accomplished. And sort of I changed a little bit of things, but this is where we have an opportunity for us to kind of go through this list of things that we want to work on this year as a board. And I like to have it down here at the bottom so we don't forget, and it could be like if we have a quiet meeting or something, we could say, oh, let's put personnel policy, reviewing the personnel policy on this.
Speaking of which, I brought this folder, which has our old personnel policy, one from Moortown that looked pretty good. If anybody wants to take on the personnel policy, I am happy to pass on this folder because I have not had a chance to get to it in the last year, being that I took on roads and grants and stuff. So that's for Larry
Okay,
or
that's
Stacy. If
anyone who wants to take it,
Don't fight.
But really what it is that we've done is, and I think Zara's right, like in the past, what we've done for the town personnel policy is, go through each item and say, does this make sense? And sometimes things have come up, that during the year that make us say, oh, maybe we need to think about revising the policy for that particular, like, I don't know, reimbursement for boots, right, for the crew, that kind of thing. And so we just want to make sure that, and what Zara has done is sort of taken it a step further to say, well, let's see what other towns are doing, right? Like, are we in line? Like, is this, does this make sense, what we're proposing? And so what we've tried to do is, put this on as an agenda item, and then we sort of work our way through the personnel policy over the course of several months.
Usually
Right.
6.
6 months, right.
Or a
I mean,
year or two.
Right, so we tried to do this in the last 2 years, and literally the flood came.
Yep.
And it was just like, we can't do this anymore. So this could be a good year to be just revising it, looking at it, and making sure that everything seems up to date and appropriate for our staff. Okay, so that's on our to-do. Does everyone agree that that's a good goal that we can maintain? Okay. So the town hall, I did do the next steps for the heating system, and then the future of the town hall and municipal offices. That is, they kind of go hand in hand, and that's really related to the costs of this. We did just, agree to weatherize this building. But we will need a new heating system for the 2025-26 winter. So, that's not something, like right now, the Energy Committee is dealing with this, which is great. So it's not necessarily gonna be up to us to go out and do all the legwork associated with it, because that's what they wanna take on. But we would be agreeing to the spending and all of that on there. So do we all agree that those are 2 good goals to be working on?
Yeah, I would add like the sort of sub-goal is we need to review and update our purchasing policy.
Yep, okay,
which
yep.
I'm happy to take on.
Okay, review and update purchasing policy, yep. You wanted to have that as a item for
I could do it like next
next meeting and just talk with us a little bit about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can circulate the current one, which was from
Perfect.
2015, and talk about the
All
model
right.
one with BLCT.
Perfect, okay, so review. Do you think that will be an action that we take, or just something that we're gonna talk about?
I think action could be likely if we want
Okay.
to adopt a more current purchasing
Okay, so
policy.
action likely,
But
okay.
maybe
Or
action
possible.
possible, because
That's
you
fine.
guys might want to think about it.
Yeah, action possible is fine too, okay.
But yeah, we'll work on that.
All right, so that'll be for April 15th.
Yep.
That works for you, okay.
And I'd move up the addressing the future of town buildings up to the town hall next steps, future of town hall, right? That's all the same.
Yeah, town hall next steps for heating system is, in and of itself, we know that we're not leaving this building.
Right,
And we need a
and then it
heating
says
system.
future of town hall and municipal buildings, but then you go down a little bit further and it says addressing the future of town buildings. So maybe just cross that one off because it's
Oh, yeah,
part of
yeah,
municipal buildings, so.
yeah. Yeah, perfect, we can remove that. Okay, why did we do an ordinance to address litter illegal dumping in the town's right of way? What was that about?
The bottom of Culver Hill Road, how everybody keeps dumping,
Oh,
that's where it started.
That's
and
where it
then
started, yeah.
Just people throwing trash in the
It's
side of the
everywhere.
road. But I think it goes hand in hand with a junk ordinance. Because we were talking about trying to figure out a junk ordinance as well to address a few properties in town.
Okay.
Property on Shadyville Road and property on Route 12.
Okay, yeah. All right. I mean, unfortunately, because we don't really have a way to enforce anything,
It's tough.
it's tough. I mean, it's okay to have these, or we could send fines, but for the most part, people aren't gonna pay their fines, so. Anyway, we should have it, and we should, we don't have any ordinance right now. I thought we had a junk ordinance, or
It's
junk
really, it's
something.
like
We
the
do, it's
purchasing
really
policy
old.
outdated.
Okay, so we could, okay, so let's keep that on. So update, is it called an ordinance? Is
It's
that
a
what it
junk
is?
ordinance.
Okay,
Which is, I think, procedurally, it's a little different than like a purchasing policy, because an ordinance, I would have to double check the legal requirements, because it's just slightly different animal, but.
There is one, it's just like,
okay.
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah,
I think the
outdated.
process of like updating our junk ordinance might be different than the process of adopting an updated
okay.
purchase policy.
Okay, we're not gonna do the junk ordinance next week, though.
No.
No. Okay, no. Yeah, okay.
But that's a good,
But,
that's a
yeah,
goal.
and
That can stay a goal.
And
Yeah.
if we have an old one, if you don't mind sending it out to us so we can
Yeah.
see the old one, that would be great.
okay, I'll look for it.
Wood Road Bridge repair,
I,
seems like a big lofty goal.
And hiring grant writer, again, they go together, yeah.
True.
I'm probably gonna collect projects on this board like pets.
Oh, good.
Good.
But like Wood Road for me, because like I drive over it every day. I would love to see a grant, but I don't know how much authority I don't really know. Like, what can I do to help with that, to push the little ball along?
Join the road crews.
Besides joining rope, I can't. I don't have
Yeah.
time.
No, but as we find grants
Yeah,
and
we may
stuff,
say-
I'll send them your way, and
That's
as
right.
being on the select board, you're dialed in. You know,
Right.
you'll have to
That's a
plug
roads-
yourself into whatever portal I send you, but.
Roads committee.
So updating and correcting the town speed ordinance is a funny thing because
So
of
that's
all
something I
those-
feel like the road committee could do,
Yeah.
right?
I think Paula had started that, right?
Well, just
Hold
for
on,
one
one or two?
section, but the
Right.
problem is we need to go through and identify all of our speed signs and their
Team fix.
locations and there's a, yeah. Because we don't know what we have.
Right.
And that's gonna change once we get our new,
Software program,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he has a signature thing.
But yeah, I don't see why that can't be a road committee team fix project for this year.
I think it'd be a great one.
Oh, I see.
The inventory, the culvert inventory, is that also going to happen alongside like the speed signs?
The road inventory?
Like isn't there like the right, with the right?
That'll be, that's going on with a grant that's happening and it should be happening this summer.
So there's a couple of different things. Eric bought a software program. It's a software as.
It's an asset management software, basically.
So
Okay.
we can list all of our culverts, the sizes, where they're located. It's got, it's got the map and all of that stuff.
All of our signs.
But we also have a municipal grant that we're going for right now, which would mean the state would come in and take a look at every culvert, right-of-way culverts as well as regular culverts, make sure that we are in fact up to codes and standards, which we should be after the last two floods and all of the ones we've replaced. But any ones that aren't, will be pinpointed.
So the state would do the legwork on our
The
culverts?
state would do the legwork on it, at least on finding the
Central Vermont
problems.
Regional Planning will assist in that work.
There's so many different entities.
What is that?
So that's what we have going
I
on
think
with
that's
our-
in its phone.
with our culverts, a couple of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Local emergency adoption? What's this?
So the roads committee is
Oh,
the
here it
Wood
is, yeah,
Bridge.
okay,
Wood
here-
Road Bridge
okay, I
also
found
went
it.
on road committee's
Um,
radar or not really?
If I hit,
It is on our radar. So we have, like, team funding is looking for grants. Unfortunately, team funding's kind of fallen apart. It's me and people at this point. It's really neat.
okay, so I did find the form that needs to get printed. Yeah, I had two forms. But I think it's just me signing it.
Okay.
Um, understand how I could be printing to this printer when I don't have, it doesn't show me and it freezes every time.
Send it to Cheryl.
I can't even, it's this, every time I try to print something here, and I don't know why I continue to try, my computer just freezes up
Just
and
email it to Cheryl.
I can't, do you see that?
It's
Look,
frozen.
Look at.
Or you don't talk.
Okay, so let's just move on, maybe this thing will calm down in a minute, or is it me that needs to calm down?
I'm not saying a word.
Okay. Control Alt Delete, that always works.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but I just wanted to know if it exists. Someone does.
Yes. I've learned how to
FEMA coordinator.
Good.
Maybe an arm's reach.
Okay, let's see. And updating the town's website, of course, needs to be done. And that needs to be done sooner than later. I mean, it doesn't have to be done sooner than later, but it would be nice to get it done. We have it budgeted for this year. We have the money budgeted for this year. Sarah Merriman had talked with some other towns that had used some services, but that's also probably falls under our procurement, like getting RFPs for people. But I thought Lowry did that.
I was to say, yeah, he
Didn't
talked
he?
to me, he said that they were probably looking at it in the summertime here.
Okay,
And doing
all right.
it.
And then Susan Clark and this other woman, I think her name might be Hannah, wanted to help out with that
That was
project.
Rebecca, but I'm really
Maybe.
bad at
Okay,
names.
yeah, I'm-
Also, one of the people who had written a letter says he's an IT specialist for the state.
Yeah, and I did mention to him if he wasn't interested in the various openings that we had, that we also were looking for, because he had called me, looking for help with the website. But he responded that that wasn't really his forte, but that he could certainly potentially help with that.
Somebody told me that sometimes the colleges will have people that will do that,
Oh.
because they're learning
They're
something or
learning,
something.
yeah.
And they have
Like
all
get
that.
us an intern?
Yeah, like an intern, that you can reach out to them,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's true or not.
One of the requirements for the website, municipal websites, is that we have to have ADA accessibility. So there's these new, so anyone that we work with, it has to have that now.
Right, but I'm sure that if somebody's
Yeah.
training on it, they must have some kind of knowledge of it.
So Norwich University has a intern office where they have people that help the students find different, positions in their career. And I can give you that information if you want to reach out to them.
Yeah, I'll certainly want to call somebody, find
So-
out if it's possible.
In terms of the timing of the website, so for a municipality of our size, the deadline for our website to be ADA compliant and like meet the accessibility requirements is April 24th, 2027.
Yeah.
So we have time. And VLCT's, the advice on their website just said though, even if you hire a designer, if the designer like makes a layout that's not compliant, that it's still gonna be on the municipality.
Yes.
So we can't, there's.
We're hiring only one that is gonna do it compliant.
Yes, and there's also websites out there, free websites that will test your site for compliance.
Okay.
So there's ways to make sure that it's holds water, but just
Yeah.
that we can't just blindly trust whomever
Right.
to do it. We want them to do it right, but at the end of the day, we're still on the hook
Yep.
to make sure it's done right.
I think that Lowry actually had to go in and revise the RFP to say it had to be ADA compliant, because there was no point in us doing it and paying for it and then having to go and change it.
Yep.
So, Cheryl, if I send this to you, can you print it out so that I can send it to Sid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna go to my file. This is the emergency management document. All right, so it says here, adoption date is 4/1. Oh, I put this all in here. I hereby certify. I think that's their signature. And then I am attesting the individual must be a select board member, town manager. Okay, so I'm gonna email this to you.
Okay.
And coming from my work email because I'm sharing it. It's clerk at Middlesex, Vermont.
No, send it to treasurer.
Treasurer?
Yeah, I mean, everything's getting so confused with
Okay,
what's going
treasurer
on
at
with the clerk
Middlesex,
email right
Vermont.
now.
Okay, so I just sent it to you to print. Okay.
Can I ask what's going on with the emails?
What do you mean?
Just like, we should direct correspondence to treasurer?
Yeah, because right now what's going on is Sarah's still helping out some.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, so what's happening is she's actually been checking the email and forwarding emails, but I've also been checking them and kind of forwarding them as well.
It's double duty.
So yeah, so it's kind of happening a little bit. So her.
Have you
she's
asked her
coming-
to stop?
Yes. So tomorrow we're coming in. She's coming in tomorrow. We're going to work together on a few things. and
Okay. Can
hopefully
you
we
ask
do
her
it.
to check that out too?
Yep. So Sarah.
Tell her that basically
It's the wrong ID.
it's the wrong ID when we bring it up. And
Wrong
Weird.
ID, and then it
Meeting-
connects
it's
with
the wrong meeting
right?
ID.
yeah, and
So
it
I don't
says
know about
we're in
the
a
Zoom
different
one.
meeting.
Yeah.
So, and that she should try it, you know, if she's able to fix it, she should try signing on with her phone or something just to be sure. Because you don't know until you try to go in and see that the meeting isn't working. Okay, yes.
I guess my last thing would be, these things that we sign off on every week, I haven't understood them for a year. Can we have Cheryl, like, give us a little explainer course on these things that we have to sign every week?
Yeah, or I can.
Or you
also-
can give us
yeah.
an explainer course?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, do you want that to be a goal? Or we can do it right now?
I was thinking we could do it right now so all of us understand what we're
Okay.
signing.
Yep, okay, thanks. Yeah, that sounds good. Before we do that, was there any other correspondence that anyone had that they want to share? Okay, any other, I did want to, I have to bring up the language. I wanted to go into an executive session with just the board, and I would ask that we invite Cheryl as well. But I need to get the language for an executive session.
Have a good evening.
Liz, are you guys planning to end the meeting at this point?
Yeah, we might as well because, yes, so we're gonna have you guys leave. And then, we're not gonna come out of executive session making any,
And come back or anything.
yeah,
no.
we're not gonna come back. So,
This is it, you've seen it.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:34 to move into executive session, and this is, I believe,
Let's make it 6:25.
yeah, 6:20, oh yeah, sorry, I'm looking at that clock, yeah. Okay, so this is under, I think, 1 BSA statute 313,